Hi guys. So for today's lesson, we're going to be dealing with income. The first up, what does this word income mean? Well, income, I'm sure you've heard it before. It's pretty much just money that you earn through working. So pretty much everyone tries to get a job at some stage because they want to earn money. That money you earn is your income. So there's several types of income that you need to be aware of, because you want to pick which one of these types most is suited to your type of personality. Okay, so the first type that we want to learn about is a wage. So a wage is a certain type of income where you're paid a certain amount per hour worked. So the idea is the more that you work, the more you get paid, and every single hour you get a set amount of money given to you. So with jobs like McDonald's or maybe working at Woolies, they're going to be paying you per hour. And you have to clock how many hours you're working so that they know exactly how much to pay you in terms of a wage. This sort of type of income is beneficial for people that are really keen to work hard and really try to put in a lot of time into their job, because every single hour that they work, they're going to be getting more and more money. It doesn't work well with people who don't want to work too hard or don't want to work for long periods of time, because pretty much it's all based on time with a wage. The next one is a commission. So this is a type of income where you are paid a certain percentage of the total amount of sales that you make. So these are to do with sales jobs. So for example, say if you're going around, say for example a real estate agent, they're typically paid with a commission. So pretty much the more sort of houses they sell, or maybe a car salesman, the more cars you sell, the more money you get paid, because you get a certain percentage of the stuff that you sell. With houses and cars, the percentage is going to be very small because you're not going to be taking home thousands of dollars when you sell something. But it's still it rewards you for making sales. So a commission really works well with people who feel as though they can do a good job at this they can do a good job selling stuff. So they get a set percentage of the sales you make. My sister is a dentist, and she gets paid commission. So the more jobs she does, the more money she gets. She gets a percentage of what her customers pay. So the idea is it gives her the incentive to do a really good job, so that these customers come back, and she gets more and more jobs, and so therefore she gets more money in commission. The next one is a salary. So that's what I've got. It's where the type of income where you are paid a set amount per year. So you just get paid a set amount regardless of how many hours you work. So the way that they work with a salary, they tell me exactly how much I get per year, and that won't change. It doesn't matter how much work I do, I'm still getting paid that exactly the same amount. Okay, and the last one is fees. Now that's got to do with pretty much the income that you make is pretty much based on how much you charge for certain services or goods, etc. So lawyers, they pretty much tell you how much they're getting paid per hour or per task, and that's the money that you have to give them for their income. Contractors are the same. They will, in a contract, you'll pretty much they'll tell you how much they want to be paid for a certain job. So that's all to do with fees. Okay, so moving on, some more words to understand. The next one is gross income. So this is the money that you earn before tax or deductions are taken out. So obviously you're going to be earning money, but that money goes down because of deductions. So for example, superannuation comes out of your pay, union fees come out of your pay, private healthcare comes out of your pay. So the gross income is the amount of money before this is taken out. So pretty much when people say how much do you earn a year, you're going to be telling them mainly your gross income. You're not going to consider your amount after deductions or tax. Now your net income, that's the money that you get to keep after these deductions are taken out. So this is pretty much the money that you get to take home. A way that I like to remember it is your net. That's pretty much like sort of the fish that you get to keep. So that's like the money that you get to keep. Note that net income, easy formula to figure out net income. It's just your gross income and you minus your deductions and you get your net income. Simple as that. Okay, next word is overtime. Now this typically applies to wages. And it's when you get extra money for working, say, extra hours, or if you're working on a weekend, or if you're working on public holidays. The overtime doesn't apply to every single wage job, but it does for a lot of them. So double time is a type of overtime. That's when you get 2 times your hourly rate. Double means timesing by 2. So that's double. Yeah, so double time is like double the amount of money per hour. And time and a half, that's where you're multiplying your hourly rate by 1.5. It's pretty much like you're getting your usual wage per hour, but then you're also getting an extra half of it as well. So time and a half. So remember 1.5 is what you times by for time and a half. Next sort of term to remember is the idea of leave loading. Now you probably haven't heard of this one. Not many people, it's not talked about that often, but some wages and salaries, so for example I get this sort of thing, are paid an extra 17.5%. That's just like a typical percentage that they use for leave loading. They get paid extra 17.5% during holiday times. This is used as an incentive to work for a particular employer. So not all employees have to give leave loading, but some do, and they're pretty much saying, look, this is part of your contract. This is a reason to work for us. You get extra money during the holidays, so you've got more to spend on your holiday. So note, because it's 17.5% extra, that is 100% your normal. So your 100% this part, that's like your normal pay. And then this is the extra 17.5%. So 100 plus 17.5, that's 117.5. And that in its decimal version is 1.175, an important number to remember when you're dealing with your holiday pay. So the way to go from normal pay to holiday pay is to multiply by this 1.175. And if you want to work backwards, if you know your holiday pay and you want to figure out the normal pay, well, you just do the opposite operation. So you instead divide by 1.175. So there's an example here. So say if your normal pay is 1,500, well, during the holiday time, if you get this leave loading, instead of getting this, you'll get this much instead. It's been increased by 17.5%. Note, if you want to find just the leave loading, so that's just the amount that it's increased by, you only multiply by 0.175. Just a bit of a note to remember. Some questions just ask for like how much extra you're getting, so you just remember to multiply by that instead. Instead of the 1 here, it's got just a 0. Okay, so let's do some example questions. So Pauline is paid $13.20 per hour at the local farmyard to muck out the stalls. Her normal hours of work are 38 hours per week. So she is typically working 38 hours. She receives time and a half for the next 4 hours of work. So if she decides to work extra hours, she does get overtime. And then if she works even more than 4 hours extra, she gets double time after that. Okay, so what is Pauline's income if she decides to work a really big week of 50 hours? So the way that you need to deal with this 50-hour week here is you need to split the 50 hours into these 3 parts. So we've got 38 hours here, we've got 4 hours here, and we've got double time hours here. So let's split it up into the 38 hours first. So a 50-hour week is 38 hours here. And then we've got our 4 hours afterwards. These two together only make 42 hours together. And then but we need 50 hours. So if these two are 42, then there's an extra 8 hours left over to make our total of 50. So these are our 50 hours right here, split up into normal, time and a half, and double time. So that's a really important first step to be able to do. So we use these numbers to figure out our total income. So we've got normal hours. So every one of these 38 hours, we're just getting $13.20 for each one. So we just multiply those two together. Plus our time and a half hours. So that's our rate of pay is $13.20 still. Notice I'm using that number each time. So we got $13.20, but we want to times by our 1.5 to get it up to a time and a half rate. So we times by 1.5, and then we've got 4 of those hours. So we times by 4 as well. So that's the time and a half hours done. And now we've got our double time hours. So we take our normal rate again, but we're going to double it. It's double time. And we've got 8 of those hours as well, so we're going to times by 8. So this is the sort of working you need to do. It's really important to get good working like this down so you can check to see if you're making any mistakes. When you put all that into your calculator, it comes out as $792. As simple as that. Question B. If Pauline pays $220 per week in taxation, so that's a deduction, and $475 in union fees, another deduction, what will be her weekly net income? So remember, guys, the net income is after deductions are minus, they're taken out. So we've got gross income, which is this. This is the total amount she earned in the week. We got to take away, so that's her gross income, that's how much she earned, yep. And then we got to take away these deductions. Take away 220, take away 475. So taking those away from your 792, this is how much money she gets to take home. So that is going to be your net income. Simple as that. Okay, next question. So Jeff sells membership to a gym and receives $225 every week. That's what you call a retainer. A retainer is pretty much a set amount that you earn per week, and that's going to be like what you always get, and it doesn't matter how much you sell. So that's like a guaranteed amount of money, and it's called a retainer. And you get these typically in commission sort of jobs. Plus he gets his commission, which is 5.5% of his sales. So if he sells this much money worth of memberships in a week, how much does Jeff earn in this week? So he's not getting all this money. He only gets a small percentage of that. He only gets 5.5% of it. The rest of the money goes towards the business, not himself. Okay, so let's figure it out. Well, we know that he gets $225 as a retainer. That's a set amount that he's definitely going to get. But he also gets 5.5% of his sales. So we need to calculate what is 5.5% of this. So when you're doing this, change this to its decimal version. Remember, divide this by 100 to get this. And then you want to multiply by the amount of sales. So 0.055 times this, and then you want to plus on your retainer, and you get how much he's going to earn in that week. So he's getting almost $500. So not too bad, that sort of question. One more type of question. So Rachel is normally paid $1,200. This is her usual pay per week. But when she's on holidays, she's paid 17.5% extra as leave loading. Question A, how much is her holiday pay per week? So we want to figure out how much is this holiday pay. So her holiday pay is increased by 17.5%. She's getting that extra. So the idea is take your normal pay and you want to multiply it by this 1.175. So multiply it by 1.175. The reason is, if you remember from this, to go from normal pay to holiday pay, you want to multiply by 1.175. So So this is exactly what we do here. So take her normal pay, multiply by that, and you get her holiday pay. So she's usually only getting 1,200, but for holidays she's getting this much. So that's the incentive. Question B is asking how much is her leave loading per week. So they just want to figure out how much extra is she getting. What's just the leave loading? So the way to do that, instead of timesing by 1.175, just times by 0.175. And that just shows you how much extra she's getting. So she's just getting an extra $210 for a holiday. But that's pretty good. That's definitely better than a kick in the teeth. So, hopefully this helps. Good luck with the questions. Bye.